ready for if you end up going to London.
I think there's an element of experimentation, but I think based off of Gentlemates picking into this map, it tells me that they've cooked something, right? So it is just a question of, is Martin going to lock in that veto? Is Mini going to lock in that breach? Is this the identity that they want to go down with? Clearly, if they do stick with that, something's been going well in Prax.
Yeah, and they so well that they decided to pick it for today. But probably, as you're saying, maybe because of the composition. When I look at Team Heretics starting off from the defense, you're going to see the usual, a lot of aggression coming in through A-Hall. As I said, in their matchup against KC, some of the kills were ridiculous. Like, Boo was on another level. I do like also the comfort for Benji that I feel like has been having also very high highs and low lows. To be in an agent like Cypher, hope that brings him the comfort. And also speaking about comfort, I want to see a Vipo that even, I know that it has not been easy for him, but I want to see him abusing the judge as much as Koshmaras is going to be doing so. Many times Vipo's going to go down, but it is a necessary evil.
Well, look, you two as a duo have been amazing in giving all your analysis, and I know there's two other people that are trying to avoid me after spending the week on the desk, but you can't get rid of me that easy, Mitch and Tom.
Thank you, Crashies. Yes, it's time to jump into this matchup. I'm very excited with Mates versus Heretics. Look, the stakes might not be so high for the individual teams, but when you look at KC, as we saw the permutations, they are going to be watching this one with eager eyes. Their life really on the line here.
Yeah, I think their life has been on the line for a while, but I guess for Heretics, you've got to look at it from their perspective. Their life is still very much within their own hands. They're going to want to try and put themselves in the best position. Of course, we talked about it last week about this team always making it to playoffs since 2024. They've always been challenging to make it to internationals and going to the majority of them. For Mates, well, it's a new look after making Santiago. They're going to want to try and get themselves maybe a little bit higher up the board, but also I'm sure the potential of sending Heretics out a little bit later on next week would also be something they'd like to do.
Yeah, time to set the record straight as well for Mates. You know, they're coming in here with the advantage, 2-1 versus 1-2, but they've never managed to best this Heretics roster in VCT EMEA, obviously with different lineups as well. As you run back through to 2024, it's always ran the way of Heretics. Let's see if that is going to be the case once more. If Heretics can put themselves 2-2, starting out here on Fracture, the choice of Mates. And, well, you do see that veto again in play, Tom. I know you're not a huge fan of what we've seen so far, but perhaps Mates are here to surprise and amaze you. Nice stun setup and quick play by Bippo, caught by the stun, unfortunately. He's going to have to belay that push. And that gives an opportunity for Koshmaras to fire back.
Nice Boo as well. Had a fantastic week last week. Maybe able to focus a little bit more on his individual ability rather than having to focus on maybe the comms, is something that was talked about quite a lot. But if he's in that sort of form, Heretics are going to be dangerous. Now for Martin and Starzo, normally you might like to try and reposition in this moment, but with the spike down in such an awkward spot, the players on Heretics really don't need to move, and even though it will be a bit of damage, it's only going to be the trades. Benji with a double, Heretics on the board.
A strong start in the pistol, indeed. Nice to see Koshmaras swinging for the hills right off rip. He managed to get a second lease of life when put under so much pressure. The dominoes start to fall from there. And Tom, let's talk a little bit about this Mates comp, because obviously coming in with the veto, I think, is it a map-specific issue you have here? Do you not like him on Fracture, or do you just not like the agent at all?
I just don't think I've seen anybody really run the agent well in the EMEA. I think it's like it's so much about all the different timing, and also I think we saw from Martin specifically, like, having those outs with his TPs was difficult to deal with. Now, I will say, I think last time they played, they were up against a KO. So there were moments where he was trying to escape and he just couldn't. So that's obviously a little bit of a different story. But also, it's Martin. Like, sure, you get the TP element he used to have on Yoru, but have you seen his Phoenix? Like, man just running around destroying people. His Raze as well, which is obviously on the other side.
Yeah.
I think there's so much value he can bring that I need him to be near the top of that board, whereas normally with the Sentinel, you might not say that because if he's holding the line or whatever, but Martin needs to be fragging.
Well, it was a big conversation across yesterday and just in general within EMEA, within this meta, about running those double duelists. And I agree with you, especially Phoenix has had a massive uptick, albeit on some specific maps, but especially Haven. But the application here, or indeed of having another duelist alongside them, as we see over on Team Heretics, having the Raze with the Neon, just seems to give you a lot more stock to play with.
He got two
farming on top of the rope. Oh my goodness. The triple right away, and it had nothing to do with the Neon. That's unlucky that Mates decided to take that battle.
Well, and it's so flawless, but also that first shot was 2 for 1, right?
It was indeed.
He was like, oh wait, I've got to shoot the horn, looks back, kills 2, and then goes, wait, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know how he's managed to get away with that, but... Yeah, it wasn't even the front guy. Through the legs. That's insane. Judge, yeah, definitely not too strong. I think it's exactly where it needs to be.
Well, it was exactly where it needed to be there, right? That's the perfect position. Your opponent's on a rope. You're up as close as can be. The fire rate even lets you take down the Haunt first. Very nicely done. 2-0. A flawless from Team Heretics gives them a lot of cash to play with, and already they have taken control over A main, a very impressive early defensive side. On the spot that Mates were trying to take, all 5 players sat in spawn, and they've got a decision to make. A main's been taken, B's probably being rotated to, probably being reinforced. So which way do you go? And they decide to re-clear A, take back the control that Heretics just fought for. Another smoke is going to make that difficult, and it's not the Judge that breaks.
Okay.
The Prowler that went through. The surprise
right here
ends up just as damaged, but a lot done to Bippo and Glyph.
Yeah, well, I'm almost surprised it doesn't come through with a kill. A little bit of spam damage, but no rotation coming from the other side of the map. Still wary that this could go back the other way, and with Boo able to clear some of the ground. An important spray from Rian's, done some damage, but also found a pick. Leaves things even, and buys a little bit of time for the rotation, although you can see that Benji was still a little hesitant.
They're almost lucky that it was Bippo to go down because he was so low. And if it was just a second later that they walked out of main, the reveal from Rian's would have landed, would have caught a lot of them. But instead the timing was slightly off. Martin spray through the smoke, isn't though. He manages to catch Boo. Now, they look towards main to take that space, but Glyph inside the smoke, spamming away. He's caught Benji in this round. Gone to hell in a handbasket. Easy stuff for Gentlemates. 4 players left alive. And considering this started with the idea to take A main, and Heretics stole that control for them seconds in, that's a fantastic recovery.
Yeah, I think something that's going to be really interesting about this matchup is, obviously, we've seen both these teams play Fracture once. Both of them played versus KC. Both of them beat KC, which, well, if you've watched any EMEA, it's not that surprising. But one of them did it with a dominant attack half, and the other did it with a dominant defense half. So we currently have them both seemingly on their better halves to start with. Now, I don't want to use KC as a pure litmus test. It could very easily flip in the other direction. But what Heretics were very good at was getting aggressive, locking players into positions, but also doing what they did in the last round, which is just, this is our corner of the map, and they were able to hold it, whereas first time out with a Judge on the other side of a smoke, they weren't able to hold it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, we saw it in the replay, and props to them, that it was, what, 2 missed shots from the Judge? Like, that should have been a solid hold. I think they played everything well, just lost it when it came down to hitting their shots, which, you know, it's probably the better way to lose a round. It's a hiccup as opposed to a top-down problem. But look at this problem developing to the top of the map. Benji Fishy is pushed all the way through, and he's got a battle brewing. Shots landed onto Martin off screen, leaves him on 10 HP. And the walk-up from Woot here, they're distracted. They're thinking about that north side push. They don't expect Woot to be behind, and even if they do, they don't expect them to have 3 buddies. They're going back into main. Mates want to take that control, but instead they take a fight that turns to a massacre. 2 alive, Martin still on 10 HP, and they know exactly where Bippo is. The pressure on, the defuse could already be through. This is a formality for Heretics to close out.
It almost comes down to just holding onto the guns. Starzo doesn't have a weapon to play with in the next round, and him trying to fight versus 5 where Martin is sat on the other side of the map. No chance. And again, you see the success that comes from having those aggressive flanks. So many players coming in from behind made that nigh on impossible. Definitely caught mates off guard. Now, the thing is, coming into this map, coming into it as well as a choice, you will have known how aggressive your opponents are going to be. So I kind of want to see how they end up holding on in a lot of these scenarios.
Yeah, it is a bit of a funny moment because by the time that they get to this position, you see this Scooby-Doo come into play, one player going under and the others moving up towards the spawn, Benji going there. And we sometimes criticize that when it goes wrong. Oh, why didn't they go together? Why did they split? But it ends up working out beautifully for Team Heretics here. Benji not overcommitting to the north side fight, leaving Martin so low. And then the cavalry coming to meet them on that, what was the south side crunch in the end. For mates, losing that round doesn't leave them with nothing. They still have rifles, and they've got the ult on Starzo, but, well, who's it going to hit? Typically, you're going to put it around there. Thought I was still on the line, but never mind. Typically, you're going to put it around the B site from under, where he is right now, but we can see that Heretics are playing off-site. They're playing retake, probably anticipating that.
Deep use of the Haunt. Gonna go aggressive and spot out Martin. He needs to hold the line, and they've cleared out that lurk. Again, a problem that KC had, and still the information on the other side of the map with Rians waiting, watching, and they've almost got them trapped. Now, the spike is going back the other way. That's at least something, but there's an opportunity for them to almost clear out those flankers. Bibba needs to get something here and already dropped. Sure, you are going to get a plant, but you're gonna have to win a 2v4 post-plant.
They did keep the Nightfall at least. That is definitely going to stand to them if they decide to play this a bit more aggressive and take a look at where Glyph is. Take a look at where Starzo's just moved to. They want to fight right off rip. They need the numbers to come back into their hands, and the molly to buy time with the wraparound. Starzo! Oh, but Benji's watching it. Spidey senses tingling, and now Glyph all alone, trembling as Heretics rush back into the site. A fourth on the board. Nice try in the 2v4. They set themselves up for success, but the round was lost long before.
Yeah, it was I like the attempt. Like it was just Benji being very, very aware. But this was, again, it was a similar problem that we saw KC have, was a lot of the time you're going to go for that 4-1. Maybe you have the majority north side, one south side. You need that lurker to make sure you don't lose the entirety of the map. But that means that player is likely going to have to face off against two. And even if it's a 1-for-1 trade, which it wasn't, but even if it was, you've still lost so much map control that it forces you into an aggressive move. As we saw, they tried to then jump out on towards that A site. So that's something they're going to have to be aware of, that Heretics are not going to stop doing this.
I will say Bibble getting very... Oh,
I've done it again.
My goodness.
Immediately, he's gone.
Bibble getting unlucky with the fact he was spammed through a smoke, but Martin caught by that util early on. Now it's on Bippo to try to recover this. He's up close, and the nade ends up taking him down. Nightfall through, but the numbers already against them. A nice return by Glyph. The molly. Oh, I thought the timing was poor, but it might have worked out at least for the trade. And with the numbers advantage, that is all that Heretics need. Dominating in the later fights and leaving Mini 54 HP. And well, he put through some util not long ago. They've got a good idea on where he is. And so far, Benji's timing has been perfect. Every time that mates send out someone to wrap around, just in the nick of time, he goes, okay, I think he can be there by now. And this time, a cage goes down as they move into sight. He won't be clearing the back, but he's buying them space to fight forward and defend that spike.
Yeah, they've got full control now. I think even starting to piece together the last position that it could be clearing everything else out so that they can put a player into a spot without risking them going into a 1v1 duel. And now it's just on to holding. 30 seconds left. Mini has been very snappy in the past, but the peak's perfect. 5-1 up. Another fantastic round for Heretics, and it's actually very worrying for the side of mates, because that wasn't just like, oh yeah, we went quite aggressively, we threw a Nightfall in. That was a Nightfall and a Rolling Thunder. Those are two big ults thrown in, and just, well, I want to say base utility that denied them. A molly denied them. I think there was a seize that denied them as well. That's quite damning if you use two big ults and you don't even get the sight.
Yeah, I think especially in these moments, though, when you're sending 5 players towards the side and it's a 4-1, for them to push the side where you have the one is a bit tragic. And further than that, the fact that Martin goes down without even one kill. If he finds one, the trade would come in almost
He didn't even get to
immediately.
blink.
But yeah, exactly. he shoots the Haunt and then doesn't fire another shot because they put him to bed immediately. That's the buy round, and it falls apart so quickly. At 5-1, I mean, again, to highlight that not only is this Mates map pick, but you said they're both starting on comfortable sides for them, arguably their best side, and the best foot is certainly not forward for Mates right now. The timeout, the tactical break, hopefully we'll get them back in order because this has been a sloppy start.
Something to point out as well is that one of the big stories coming into the first week we saw Koshmaras was that he was playing that chamber. Definitely didn't look particularly comfortable. It was talked about that Woot would come in and be that primary duelist. He is frying on Neon. He's currently 9-3. Think about the kills you've been seeing him get. Those are him diving into deep angles. He's meant to be the space taker so someone else can trade him. He's top of the board in the whole server.
The only round they lost was because he missed 2 shots of the judge up close, and since then it seems like he's come back with a vengeance. So yeah, I think for Mates right now, very bleak signs, but the timeout might have changed things. Nade goes through, they've got to be worried. Damage done. A lot, in fact, onto Bippo. He's down to 45.
He's got the only gun.
They will give up the site, but the retake, as you say, against these pistols, who are all now tagged down to 50 or so, except for Glyph. The retake should be easy.
Yeah, they have ults to play with. It's whether or not they want to actually use them. Probably not now. Already first picked up. Isolated fight. Bippo does well, but again, that was the only gun. Everybody else left onto pistols. Timing here's the main thing, and Boo's looking to try and hold off anybody wrapping back around. Aggressive push in. And well, even going to use the ult at the end. It wasn't really necessary because Koshmaras has already killed everyone.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that they put the orbital strike through there. I mean, that's going to have much more value in one of the later rounds, not least because they had weak weapons, but also the numbers advantage there, the fact they're on site. That was a little bit of an overcommitment, but securing the round either way, with or without it. And it's good to see this confident. Like, it's just, I don't understand why they did that. There was 2 players left alive, I think, when they used it. But either way, a 6-1 start. He's 12-3 start for Koshmaras. I don't think there's going to be much criticism, at least of his start to this map. And
as prepared as I'll ever be.
From here, you have to wonder how Mates are going to climb their way back into this.
Yeah, he might get more kills than Comeback has had in some series.
Oh,
He is on fire
I'm sure there was
right now.
any need for that.
Well, you sort of mentioned it. The Mates thus far have been struggling. Looks like they're about to come into contact. We'll see what they're saying within the comms.
One more. Fake sword. Hold up. Two here.
Big stand with me.
Holding other.
Nice.
Go side together, guys.
I'll smoke side, hold on. Hold
Give me,
flank,
guys.
okay.
You might fight here.
I'll hold flank. Distance, bro, distance.
Under dish.
Under dish, city.
Hold the smoke. Play knife and hold the
Same
smokes.
plant, guys. I'm on HP.
Warning, man. He's on top of the shit.
I'm holding the smokes. Vi verkar ha stark så.
Ja.
Är inte verkar någon full right side?
I'm not picking out.
Come on,
targets.
Dermis.
I'm 10 HP.
It's just a 1v1 with Boo. Very nicely handled. Mates make their way to side. Bippo firing on all cylinders to start. And even though Starzo's 1 HP, he's behind a pretty thick wall. 2 teammates covering his cross. It's an impossible play for Boo. And Mates are back on the board with the full buy.
Yeah, that was just a Bippo highlight reel. That's basically what did everything for them there. They set him up, gave him the reveal, gave him a supportive aftershock, and he knocked them all down. Great round from him individually. One that we'll have to see if that's going to light the burners, because obviously you're not going to have an overdrive every single round. You're not going to be able to put him into those positions every single time. I'm on with a lot of their ults expended over the last couple, but the same can be said for Heretics. Even versus that low buy, they expended almost everything. And one that is still online is that evolution for Martin. He can now get hit by that Haunt and it won't be a problem.
Yeah, or by that orbital strike that isn't there. For Mates, slow play, and again, some pressure towards this A side, but they're looking for that walkabout that they've seen a few rounds ago. They pressured A, and Heretics pushed north side, sent 1 man in the Scooby-Doo down under. This time, Glyph is holding for that exact play, holding for them to split. And although the info's there that these players have pushed north, nobody is coming down their way. At least not now, because the op is posted and waiting for a victim, finding one. The reposition's going to come through. But getting into heaven at this stage, he'll be a little bit late. There's a risk that someone from Mates is holding close, so we won't push any further forward. The Mates at least get a plant.
Timing. Benji, you said his awareness has been on point, and now he's going to get the reveal, the swing in. Koshmaris does miss a shot. This is incredibly bold with the shorty, but Benji's done well on the other side. Now left all onto Martin. He evolved at the beginning of the round, but can this evolve into a 1v4 clutch? Spike at least ticking in his favor. There's so many players on the other side. A nice shot, but they did get it to half, I believe. That means that Boo can start the stick. He needs to swing out, and he is going to take the 8! What is that from Martin?
A sensational play from Martin, right when they needed it most. Mates were looking to trail even further at a 7-2 scoreline. It was already written, but Martin's erased the page. That is incredible.
I've always said how much I enjoyed his veto play.
Yeah, you said it from day one, Tom.
Not sure the agent had anything to do with that, but
The evolution, mate. The evolution,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That helped him.
Remember, I healed him up a little bit, you know. Could have also played Reyna, but we'll ignore that. Judges back in hand. We saw a 33% success rate with Operator. I don't think that was Koshmaris' fault, though. Losing the 1v4, probably slightly more problematic. And their weaponry in this round is weird.
Oh, no. Koshmaris was going to be tucked on the wall, but the molly sent him out wide, and he ends up getting caught by a spam as a result. That is very unfortunate. C's catching one up top. Boo creeping his way through. He's too far, though. The judge not working on that range, but he spotted them, and his teammates picking up the pieces, but still a few left behind. Importantly, so is the spike. Woot's holding on to control, and he knows that they need to push him. The problem is the wraparound. They can come from main now, trying to reposition. He gets safely behind the box, but did they see him? They're looking the right way. It seems like they've got an idea, but he'll still find both! Woot pulling that round back with a Red Bull clutch. Heretics find 7 eventually.
Well, it seems like everything is right in the world. One insane clutch into another. And that's all it took. These are the tiny details that, even in the moment, I didn't think that Bibba would have seen anything. He did over the top of the smoke, and that picks was enough to get him a kill. Woot is the hero of this story, though. 7-3. Economy's still not bad for Mates. Ult's coming back online. We saw them use both the Rolling Thunder and the Nightfall last time out, and well, Bippo just looking to send it. They are sending everything the other way, though. A swing out from Woot. Koshmaris a little bit further behind. This is really awkward. Eventually, he'll get the kill, but they have definitely taken more of a hit here. And while Benji Fishy, run. 5 health. I think it's time to leave, bud. Oh, he's going for it?
Economy's not in a very good spot, but he's believing. High-low setup is the death of him, though. A single shot needed and landed immediately. 7-4 now. Mates who were trailing and really struggling to get anything on the board, now looking a whole lot different. That clutch from Martinez. It reinvigorated this roster. And they stand a chance of 7-5 at the half. Sure, they would have liked to come out leading, but considering they were down, what, 6-1? I think they can be pretty happy, regardless of how this one ends.
Yeah, they've had genuinely some insane rounds. The Bippo 3K, Martin's clutch, right into Woot's clutch, right into another aggressive round towards Sand. Now, the Bucky's kind of the bait here, as Koshmaris will be. That stun and that stun has connected on everybody, and still Koshmaris is still alive. How is he still alive? What? 3 kills with the Bucky from there. I think he was stunned 3 times in that corner. And now it turns into a 1v2. This game has stopped making sense a long, long time ago.
I think he even peeked once. A little too early because of the stun. He wasn't able to fire the bookie. So he just peeked out, saw them, went back, and then came out with the slide for a double. And a triple overall. Phenomenal work. And, well, I'll tell you what, that's one that mates are going to be kicking themselves for in the VOD review. It's just all the utility lands, but somehow the bookie shots land harder. The upside here is Mini does have 2 1v1s. That's a positive. The downside is he's probably going to make noise in the way down. Benji's going to be more than ready. But Benji does only have a pistol to work with. A chance to set himself up in the 1v1 post plant, but first has to deal with this man. Misses the drop down, noise made. Now the rotation's underway. He's on a clock, and Benji Fishy puts him to bed. 8-4 for Team Heretics at the half.
Yeah, genuinely, it's been a back and forth, but in some of the weirdest ways possible. Nonetheless, I heard you guys have been enjoying our puzzles in the halftime, so I believe we have another one for you now.
Down A. 1 enemy remaining.
I thought you were onto something with your guess as Sage there, Tom, but no, it was deadlock. We've been fooled again. I haven't gotten any so far. It's starting to get embarrassing. I'm going to think that Brimstone is Phoenix, I suppose. We'll see a bit of orange in it for the Flames. No good at this, but I'll get my practice in. These boys have had their practice, though, and it certainly shows. Some incredible individual rounds just there. I don't think I'm quite over that bookie play yet. The fact that he peeked out early, didn't get punished, and then goes on to find 2 more when he'd already had 1.
If you ever need an argument more for the fact that stuns are cosmetic, that's it. There you go. They're just in your head. If you imagine they're not there, you're not actually stunned. Just hit the shot.
Don't even start me on the Mixold. Oh my goodness. Well, 8-4 it is. The Heretics with the lead, and as we said, the better half for both teams from what we've seen before behind them. For Mates, that means a real uphill battle. And they started by running down the hill, down towards B main and catching themselves a single kill, but then they back out. I like this. Advantage taken, a little bit of damage on Martin, but they're going to be happy to reset and push elsewhere. Now north side is their target, seeing nothing here. Of course, there is a camera that will be periodically checking them if they go further. But they're just tucked. A 2-man setup on each angle. When you've got an advantage like this is perfect. The only danger is Starzo getting overwhelmed by a push or a split, but we can see Heretics exploring that B site.
Well, yeah, and eventually, with no contact, they're going to start the rotation back the other way. And he's done well, but a lot of damage.
Oh!
I don't think Boo saw anything there. No. That was just a reaction shot to turn it back into a 2 versus 2. Now, do they still expect Glyph to be this close by? It depends. No, it seems like Benji, he's just missed the moment of the angle, but he hits the shot anyway. It leaves it all onto Starzo, the late rotator. He knows where one of the players is, but will expect Woot to be somewhere close by. So many angles to clear on this site and such an open plant that it's going to be incredibly difficult. He needs a fight. He needs to bait someone into an angle to give an opportunity. And sure, now he knows where Woot is, but will have completely lost where Benji is on the other side.
Oh, they're baiting him. They're baiting him perfectly, and now behind the box and save. Nice shot by Starzo, but the time's the real issue here. Has to get it to half. Surely, no! He comes off him for the kill, but the time is too far gone. For Heretics, a round win for Starzo. A bit of confidence, perhaps, but Might be too little too late as the scoreline gets away from them.
Yeah, I think Benji at that point knows 100%. It doesn't matter if I die. I can just swing. Maybe his eyesight's incredible, but I think that was just he killed my teammate. I'll shoot that way and hope.
Yeah, I think he saw him on the initial cross as well. So he's like, he was around there somewhere. Fire a shot through, see what happens. And, well, he took his head clean off. Fair enough.
Well, 9-4. There's been a lot of back and forth craziness, but I feel like that's where Heretics have always been able to thrive. And especially with Koshmara seemingly getting better and better as the weeks go by. That transfer, especially if they do make it into the playoffs, could turn out to be one of the best of all time. But it's still got a long, long way to go. This is only map 1, and sure, this is the pick of mates, but I have a feeling with the way that this series will go, it could go back and forth either way. Just take a look at Heretics' map choice last week where they got destroyed.
Even more reason for this round to be secured and secured cleanly. Mates not looking to win the round anymore, but simply to make it costly, to drop as many bodies as they can. The first man to fall has a pistol. The losses aren't too heavily felt, but anyone else that goes will be value left on the floor, or at worst, picked up by mates. You can see a safe exit, though, for Heretics. Boo on the cross, the only real danger, and he's made it out. They've even got a ghost to throw to Benji in surplus. A round concluded with Heretics pretty much ticking every win con so far. 10-4 on their opponent's map pick. Economy healthy. They play a bonus round here with good potential to actually convert to a round win. If they do that, then it's basically over already, and we move to the next map. And again, historically, this roster or others, mates, they just cannot get the leg up against Team Heretics, and it looks like we're in that same old story again, at least for now.
I feel like nowadays in Valorant, these are the scariest rounds because you know that there's likely to be something incredibly fast. You know that when there's a judge in place, someone's going to come sliding in towards you, so the mate side need to be prepared for this one.
Yeah, this is where Heretics are going to put their all into the site. A full push forward, and let's see how they make use of this chaos with the spike down.
Push them now. We push them right now. Can you damn me, please?
Tennis reveal.
One.
I don't have.
One more deep.
Go back.
I go back.
Guys, come back and just CT.
There is money.
Can't play now. Pick one.
Come. Go plant.
Main.
One for CT.
He's running, guys.
Flying for CT.
He's running. Guys, can you pick on me? You can go in the box, okay?
Yes,
Can go in the box, pick on me.
Yes.
I'm faithful.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, pick on me.
I break it, okay?
Wait, pick.
Nice! Let's go!
Name on Bill.
Good job. Listen.
Yeah, just making that chaos work wonderfully for them. The flank, I don't mind the idea from mates, but I feel like that almost plays into exactly what Heretics want. You've got some weaker weapons, you can group up and fight together, and this is the problem with those rounds. Like bonus rounds nowadays, especially with how good the judge is, Neon can just get into angles that you normally can't get anywhere near with any other agent. It's difficult to not fall victim to rounds like this.
Well, that's the thing. I feel bad for Bippo there. He sat back, the third man in the play. Two guys going forward. He's like, I'll put a supportive stun through, guys. Just call it. All of a sudden, someone's in his face, and he's out of the round. And exactly as you said, Heretics being able to use the numbers to push those fights, to take those advantages, and then crunch back in towards main. Very nicely done. And as we said, that is a real danger for mates. I mean, it feels like collision with the iceberg. We're taking on water. And now they need to find a port in this storm because 11-4 with Heretics building up quite the bank of credits and mates facing into, as you can see, a not so healthy buy, which on the attack you can make use of, right? You can push together, you can use the numbers. On the defense, not quite the case. Although, the one big gun they've got is the judge. It's in the right position. It's heard players down below, but they're not going to let him away with this. The nade cancelled, but that means they cancel their push. No need for Heretics to take that spin.
It's just been destroyed. Well, Cosmaris is just having fun. And I feel like he is treating this like a rank game at the moment, just running around and obliterating people who should be on his level, but seemingly are not. And well, nice shots from Mini. We've had moments. This would have to match up to the best of them, and now knows where both players are, but already tagged relatively low. He's made this one costly and manages another shot. Needs one with the Sheriff. It would have been beautiful. A wonderful attempt, but not quite.
That's the Mini we know, let me tell you. And the thing about Mates is no shortage of clutch potential on their team. We see it from every player, but Koshmaris here really stealing the limelight. This guy, especially in that position with a shorty, it seems like every time he's there, the secondary comes out. And he's having a lot of success with, well, with everything.
I've just seen the toast.
That was
Like,
insane.
Don't get me wrong.
Guys, good job.
As your 1,000th kill, that's very cool. But if he got one more, that would have been one of the sickest ways to get to 1,000 kills I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But congrats, bro. Like, you're
Congrats,
12-4 down.
12-4, yeah.
But you do have,
On your map pick.
you've got 1,000 kills.
Yay!
Woo.
Well, one more map loss under their belt from what we're seeing. 8 rounds in a row needed for Mates. They're going to start it with aggression towards north side, but the whole team's coming here to back up Blue. He finds one, and the rest come easy for this roster. Starzo and Mini left to do it all, and this has been one hell of a clean map from Heretics. A couple of clutches on Mates notwithstanding. It's been practically flawless. Benji's timing again, he's back at his peak. It feels like every time Mates try to thread the needle, he is there to cut that thread before it can be woven into something threatening. And for Mates, well, let's hope their Lotus looks a lot better than what we've seen here. And also, to be fair, it's another mark against single duelists. Like, we really are just seeing the double duelist comps
It's funny
dominate.
because one of the rounds they have is Martin getting an ace.
Yeah.
But I think there's more problems than maybe just that agent, but yeah, they are just getting blitzed. Yeah, why not? Orbital Strike. That's the second time that Orbital Strike should have got a kill and didn't. But I don't think Heretics are going to care. 13-4 on their opponent's map pick. And
after the fracture that we've just seen, we're gonna have to assume that Heretics can repeat what they did last week. And starting off strong sides, I would say that this defense was amazing for them. We expect to see a lot more of what we just saw on Fracture.
Yeah, definitely. I think since they've been able to change up that composition, I was like, okay, yeah, they're leaning into comfort things, right? We're talking about Benji being on the Cypher on the last map. He's on the Vice here. Previously, he was playing the Harbor, which, yes, they're leaning into comfort. I was excited about the Harbor and the innovation behind that initially, but they have to be able to get wins under their belts at this point. I think Gentlemates as well, bringing out that double duelist composition against Navi, I believe it was last week, as well as this double controller, has allowed them to be able to kind of, you know, figure out what they're wanting to do on this map. Expect a lot of fights as well here, especially from that double duelist side on Team Heretics. In fact, both teams here will be really contesting for that space. It's the synergy really that we're going to be able to find with the Fade on each side of these teams here.
And synergy also with the duelist. We saw Martin in a more stale role, and he still managed to ace. Wait until you see him on the duelist making that duel with Beepo. That's what we signed up for with Gentlemates this year.
I'm looking forward to it. Is there anything else you guys would love to add? Because we've done all the permutations of how important a win for Heretics would be in this series, but how much more would it mean mentally-wise to get a 2-0 over Gentlemates?
Oh, this skyrockets for them, especially if they want to make it, they need both wins.
Everything is on the line for Heretics to make it to that playoff. Gentlemates having a bit of a buffer for themselves. There is no going wrong here, although my casters did get the names wrong before, so let's see if they'll be able to at least predict who gets this map right with Mitch and Dub.
Cloud 9 is where Heretics must be after that first map, considering they came in to their opponent's map pick and absolutely dominated them. You remove a couple individual rounds from Mates and it's like they didn't show up. The question is, can they bounce back on Heretics map pick?
But it's something that's interesting for me because I think this will be the first game that Mates have ever played where their life isn't on the line. Like, think back to kickoff, triple elimination. You're going to drop down a bracket if you lose a game. It's a brutal format. Here, this is the first time they're qualified already. And I don't know if that's in their heads. I don't think it would be like them not trying, but maybe you're just like, oh, we're qualified. It's a little bit more chill. Because on the other side, Heretics look like they're fighting for survival. Like, this is a squad that is desperate to make it to playoffs. And as it's already been mentioned, if they win today, KC are already locked out, but they're in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, indeed, as you say, KC hoping that Mates can bounce back.
Praying at this point
yeah.
to whoever they can.
Not just here on Lotus, but they need Haven to go their way as well. For Heretics, no, consistency. Even if they drop off a little bit, there is a lot of ground to cover for their opponents. We move into the defensive side on Lotus, and with the door open, the rotations towards this A site from Heretics are vast. There's 3 players here. Boo is even starting to move towards Heaven, conscious of perhaps someone wrapping up. But it's the C site that is the true target. They're going to pressure the Sentinel of Benji Fishy. He's got a Ghost and some Thorns to cover that left side, but if they contact this, he's going to have to hit his shot to start.
I like the flash position.
Sees Nade.
It's a really awkward spot.
Retrieving flash.
But it seems like he wasn't going to be able to use it, so I had to fall back. It was a pop flash for anybody who was going to plant. Instead, though, mates have got themselves in a fantastic position. The Sentinel already tagged low. Oh, it was almost the same on the other side, the same attempt of utility. They have at least been able to claim some ground. It looks like an immediate re-swing, and the jump through gives Martin Starzo another, and only really one remains. It's going to be nigh on flawless, but one does go down. Mates, they've got a pistol.
Yeah, Starzo even confused me. I thought it was a Seize nade. It was the reveal nade. But clearing out that map control, all that mattered, and it did send Benji running back. A nice take by Mates, and a much-needed pistol round for them. Again, they did not show up on that previous map. The battleground that they chose to be buried on, essentially. Now they climb out of the rubble of that previous map with a 1-0 lead. How long they can hold on to that lead is anyone's guess, and I wouldn't be guessing all too long. Even with Koshmaris coming in with a bookie, there is some threat in this round, but realistically, I'm only saying that based on the previous map. A grounded approach is that this should be an easy lockdown for Mates. Now the danger is towards the C site. 4 players grouped up. They're playing the bunker over there, and Mates attempting to drag rotations. They don't know that the rotations had already happened. The stack was already there, and now they move back to the other side of the map where only that bookie awaits. They have got the door wide open. All they have to do is mind their head on the way through.
Yeah, we saw in between the maps and the coach confession, Neil saying he thinks he got a good veto. What I will say, though, is that both teams, well, in the last map, we're using KC as their litmus test. And for Heretics, with this iteration of the roster, they also were using KC as a litmus test. So I don't know if we're going to learn too much until after the map is done of whether or not this is a strength. So much damage already done onto these players, though, and eventually the switch up towards a completely open B site.
30 seconds left.
Spike plant even being switched over to Martin just to get the additional orbs. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see him go on the hunt and give a weapon over to somebody else.
Just holding the angle for now. Really nice adjustment to move back to this B site, avoiding all the dangers. They were so slow going to A that all of Heretics were boots on the ground before Mates got anywhere near. A taunt and a walk away. It's worked beautifully. All the while, Boo's getting into position. That smoke, well, that step is definitely going to telegraph where he is. No one exiting towards the main on B. Instead, it's into the spawn. I am surprised to see Martin running up this deep until you realize, as you said
he's
earlier,
giving the gun, yeah.
He's looking for the orbs. He dropped the rifle over to a teammate, took Mini Sheriff, I believe. Yeah. Simply went hunting down those final orbs. 2-0 for Mates, very nicely done.
Yeah. That's almost like, it's one of those moments towards the end of the round where you realize that they are just doing everything to maximize the orbs, make sure that Martin is as close to that showstopper as possible. But they also come in, again, like the same thing I mentioned for Heretics. This bonus round where you look at it and go, oh yeah, but they got a Bulldog, or they got a Guardian, or they got a Judge. Like, yeah, they're weaker weapons, but with how chaotic we've seen this game get. And also remember the Heretics defensive side, last time they played this was hyper-aggressive. And it will be again.
This is a big buy from Heretics. But the problem is, with all the utility going down inside A main, those players waiting outside C are going to know that the majority of the forces are not here. This is the weaker side, not even the wall to play off of, so Benji's all alone. Full util dump onto him, but he gets out. Surviving here is success for Benji. Now he can group up with the team, but most importantly, keep that wall online on B. Stop the flank from coming through, or indeed, cut off the forces as they push in. already. An isolated play.
Oh, no.
It's a whiff.
Oh, that was the one factor that could have made things awkward for Mates was they go for this late switch up. I don't mind the idea, but Boo went uncleared, but then he whiffs. And so all of it is irrelevant. Now you're having to go back into the tightest site, a lot of close angles. That judge becomes almost a benefit rather than a hindrance. And you've used a lot of your utility on the other side of the map. They've got barely anything left to play with. Trying to get through, they get past the judge. Woot's done well. That time is ticking. Cliff's still standing. Well, he's all that's left. Incredible stuff from Woot. I'll be honest, I thought that was going to be way more difficult.
It definitely looked like it would. Benji even surviving the entire round. Props to him. But yeah, it felt like they fell at the first hurdle. They did everything right, contained the play towards B, so the wall goes up, and only the TP from Glyph landing as it did. The timing, you can see it from his perspective. Again, phenomenal use of the replay, I might say. But that narrow margin gave them the opening pick, and for them to just waltz back in.
Nice!
Okay, I thought that was all we were going to get. That round just good. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, good job. It's like, we're going to have a word with them after.
That was the pre-nice for the post-nice.
I see. Okay, I'm not familiar with the meta. That's on me. I'll brush up ahead of next week. And oh, that wall's still in play. Same idea, this time with the neon wall and an immediate push around. Pressure onto C again, but this time, Heretics have got numbers here. 2 players, Benji drawing their eye, and it will be Koshmaros to deliver the death blow. 1 found, but he's dealt with after. And the numbers sit in the hands of Mates. That's a deep push from Bippo, and he decides against it. I like that a bit more. Come back and protect the plant. And then play together after.
Planted.
I'd like to know if it was his decision to do that or if someone was shouting.
Someone screaming.
Bear in mind, Starzo is dead and could be watching. Now, Woot almost one-man retook in the last round. His first 3 kills. This one should be a little bit tougher. That post-plant always hard to break. Paranoia utilized. And especially with a showstopper in hand. That's already going to be utilized, but it's more just for Glyph to take the fight, leaving it all up to 1. And while Woot first comes easy, but I don't think there's going to be anything more to have. Okay, that makes it interesting. Bippo should have him dead to rights, closer than they would have liked, but it's a round for Mates nonetheless.
Yeah, a tight margin, but 3-1 lead in terms of the early half. Everything going according to plan. The blip in the radar for round 3 is kind of what you expect with the rifles. Not with how it played out. I do think that should have been their round to close in the side of Mates. But in how we've gotten here, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the destination, not the climb.
Well played. Good shit.
Especially when you're fighting your way back into a map and into a series. For Mates, 3-1.
We wait.
A week by awaiting them. It should be a 4th on the board. The Ares investment, before you ask, I detest it.
And Ares, yeah.
And Ares, yeah, well, the light armor. Ares. On the neon.
Can't wait for him to get 4 kills in this round.
I would say not a chance, but I have seen stranger things.
Yeah, the Bucky in the last. We'll see. Out he goes. There's 1. Gonna get anything more? 3 bullets left, so it'd have to be very impressive. Mitch is already annoyed by the first one, by the way, and okay! They're making this work anyway. Martin, 1v4 in the last map. Looking for a 1v3 in this one. Lightning fast reactions, the jump across. And well, it's Benji to get the kill anyway. Mitchman, thoughts?
Well, I was going to say for a moment before the round, it's obviously an essential pickup for Mates to keep the ball rolling, but then I saw the Ares and I realized, oh, they have no chance.
You do like the Bandit, though.
Yeah, of course.
So there you go. That was a good advertisement for the Bandit.
It was a solid little round from it.
Nice! Let's go!
For Mates, that's a real spanner in the works. Because again, some of these rounds have been close for Mates. I said it didn't really matter about how we got there, but in fact it does. Miley was right all along.
I was about to say,
it is the
got
climb.
the song backwards.
Yeah, exactly. I doubted Miley, and it will be the last time I ever do that. Mates now left with nothing because of how we got here, and Woot's killing them with a classic. My guy is leveling the playing field and still coming out on top. This is ridiculous. What? How did he get 2 with the Outlaw close like that? The plant at least for Mates, but silver linings on a very gray cloud. A 4K from Woot. And frankly, I hope, and I have no doubt the replay is teed up for that, because I don't know how he got away with that much.
Well, unless his classic was silenced, they definitely knew he was there. To be honest, we've seen a lot of like trolley kills and crazy gameplay, but from that in-zone flawless, the most upsetting thing was seeing that Starzo uses the minimum ghost. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing Bippo could have done there, except look the right way at the position
But
they
how
knew
could
a
they
player
have
was
known
in.
after he got a kill that he was
That's
there?
very true, and then they immediately saw that he
I think he used
couldn't fall back.
Ray's invisible ability. That
It could be, yeah. The
new buff.
The blast pack TP. Yep. I didn't think of that. That's on me. 3-3, and what was a stellar start for Mates has now grown pretty dim, as it seems Team Heretics are the ones picking up the pace, finding the momentum, but now Rifle's back out as we're neck and neck. Mates' chance to get back on the board. Let's see if they can get it done.
Let's push C first. Okay. We have mini deposit on A.
Yeah, I will enter myself close.
I can do blind if they're close.
Wait, Care they will spam you through smoke, yeah?
If they are close, can we fight it with Sarksa?
Yeah, we
Blind
can,
I will need deep and Seshul on top.
Wait.
If you run it down, okay?
Yeah.
Rolling.
Nothing, he's just deep.
Fire.
Yeah, he's spamming
By himself.
It'll be Ace boom back. He checked
Bomb
this.
B.
Yeah. Come back.
Come contact here after this.
With you, Martin.
Can he take the rock?
Wait, I'm coming.
I don't see him. Come pick, guys. Pick 3, 2.
They're reclearing A.
It will be. It will be.
You
Come
fake
pick top.
top.
Come on.
They're
Letting up. Any backside.
Go. Nothing elbow. Come through left side.
Say clear.
One right side.
Pick left, 3, 2.
One city.
Back pillar. 2 pillar.
70 raise. An open door. Behind you guys, Neon.
Yeah, Neon behind us.
Fight forward. All three. It was all three.
One waterfall, one flank.
1 HP, Vice.
I'm on safety. Waterfall.
Flank and water.
Minus 100 on Vice.
Starzo, time ticking away, 12 seconds. Spike in hand, but
seconds left.
I think he was hoping that someone would give him a fight. Instead, just sitting back, waiting. We will now see that peak. 28 HP, and he's going to have to let go. And that's enough for Boo to just run away. He may get himself an additional orb, but that will be all she wrote for the round. And you can see the change-up from Mates in this one. Clearly having the expectation that their opponents are going to get aggressive, but I like that it's a little bit later in the round. You see them go hunting for the lurker, clear out, are able to close in very, very quickly.
You're insane, boys. You're insane.
Oh, wow. 4 out of the last 5 rounds, 3 in a row for Heretics. What started as a bit of a slow start to the map. They're getting back into that form. And Woot on the defensive side, genuinely, his performances on Lotus have been insane. He was 17-5 the last time they played this map.
Oh, round 8. To see if it carries weight. I mean, for Mates, they still come in with somewhat of an investment, some opportunities here. First man of Boo spotted. There's a second man in the corner. They've seen him, but they can't deal with him. And not until at least one more player falls for Mates. In a round like this, perhaps you can look at that as a positive. Trading out, even when the weaponry is at a disadvantage. And with 3 ends down, that's going to accelerate the push that's coming through from Woot. All the while, it is being watched. Mini tucked in and waiting. Here's the steps, and he's on that little angle. Rarely checked. Oh, and Woot's running back. Oh, this is an easy backstab for Mini if ever I've seen one. All that they have to do is avoid the fight, and with the smoke down, oh, Woot's going to take his time closing up the distance with no idea, no iota that death is creeping up behind him. A wonderful round from Mates with 3 rifles in the post plant. Benji's got no chance. A save already called, and an equalizer for Mates, much needed.
Yeah, I love the call as well from Mini. Like that is him all over, where he hears the steps running up from C. The second he hears that, his teammates have the B site, but instead they opt to TP to C. He knows then that player, when they hit the plant, will likely rotate back in the other direction, and because of that, Woot is dead to rights. If it comes down to a B site and it's a 1v1 with Mini and he's looking the right way, maybe that goes Woot's way. Instead, he makes sure that he 100% will get a backstab. He'll force Woot back into a rotation the other way, and just use all of the sound cues. These fights are definitely very awkward, though.
Yeah, sometimes the bookie can give you the edge, and well, other times it puts the blade to your throat. It wasn't an easy battle, but making the best of a bad situation. Mates 4-4. It's a good sign, especially coming in with a lot of ultimates online, but a showstopper on either side. Round 9 having a full buy for both teams, and op in hand for Koshmaras. It's a default for Mates. No A main control attempted. They're hearing that. They're putting the pieces together as you see this utility making its way down deep on C. They're going to fill in that space that has been left open for them towards the A site. Babysitting it all round was Mini. And when you see absolutely nothing here, you should get a decent read, especially with last round, that this is where the Sentinel's playing. But putting pressure onto Benji, I mean, it's not that it's gone badly, but they haven't been able to deal with him. He always gets out. The thing is, from his position now, that's not really an option if they do go hell for leather after him. That's why the rotates are coming through.
Yeah, I like the idea as well. You've baited his utility. You know that a lot of the time when that is baited, you rotate back. They've even waited out the TP. So this sells a complete false idea to the side of Heretics that is going to be a play towards the other side of the map, but they're not being particularly quiet about it.
30 seconds left.
Well, certainly not now with that deep control. Martin only has an opportunity to take a pot shot, but we'll just back off afterwards. Now Viper's pit down. A lot of control to play with. Water basically fully blocked off.
But this is on Woot, surely. Showstopper in play? I feel like that's their way back in, if there is one.
But they need to find him first. And battling your way back through would be great if you had a Prowler still, but without that to work with, even with Bippo down, it is going to be a bit of a blind fire from Woot. He's searching, seeking that Viper, who's now left the site completely, running the time down, spamming from afar as Woot falls. Mini finds a second and even gets out with his life. A beautifully played round. They tried to fight the Viper in the pit, but it was waiting just outside.
Yeah, that's a wonderful round from Mates. I think especially having that realization that, okay, they've got a pick, Showstopper's coming. I don't want to be anywhere where I can be caught. I'll just fade out with the rest of them. And then we just play the post. Everybody will be low. If we spam towards the pit while someone tries to defuse, they don't really stand a chance. And then Mini's also just going back in for contact as well. Wonderful post plant.
Guys, listen! You shit!
Wow. 5-4. For Heretics, it's going to be a moment to take a breather, take a pause as their first map went swimmingly, and this one's already proving to be that little bit tougher. Of course, a man that was talked about a lot in the last map, in particular, Koshmaras. His first week when playing on the Chamber went about as rough as it could, but the swap up to Neon, the role that I think I said coming into the league was 45% he played within Tier 2 and elsewhere. It has been a massive swap up for him and for the team.
It has indeed. I mean, that debut, look, we know how difficult it can be down on that stage, and we've seen it, no shortage of examples in this stage, but it really made you wonder, was it the right move to make that roster change? Like, has anything actually improved? And I guess that is the thing, it takes time, much like, I mean, speaking of the team whose life hangs in the balance in this game, much like KC, it feels like it takes time. I mean, perhaps too much time, but that roster has promise, at least on paper. Koshmaras, well, he's showing us exactly what was promised. An incredible performance, an incredible step up from him, but in this round, he steps down from the plate early. A nice shot connected by Bippo. And again, seeing that A main aggression, they saw Omen and Raze as well. I think they should know about Starzo with the Haunt. Everything points to the C site being open for the taking, or at least that pressuring it will force rotations to come in to help Benji. This has been what mates are doing every time they see that deep A aggression, only this time holding back much further. As you can see, Bippo still waiting outside A, expecting some aggression, expecting a flank attempt.
I think something that mates have started to do incredibly well is just soaking up that pressure. It's something that KC just, I don't think they dealt with at all. Like, they didn't have the greatest of mid-round calls. I think Starzo's been doing a much better job of sort of baiting out opponents, not allowing them to stack up their utility and personnel. And as you said, like, Bippo's just held that ground. Now it comes all onto Benji, and you've said it all the way through. Yeah, they haven't been able to deal with him a lot, but they have pushed him out of the site, and their post-plant success has been fantastic. So they don't mind that. This time they get the kill as well. Benji being more risky because he only has a weaker weapon. But that's going to make it a whole lot easier in the post-plant.
Oh, a rifle picked up for Boo. If they give him the chances, he could certainly convert, but look how patient they're being, sitting back on the site. You've got a wraparound coming in from Starzo as well for Boo. Damage maybe is the play here. And he's going to get one with that off angle. Nicely done, but Martin's not far behind. The swing, it will catch him in the end. A 4th kill for Martin. And maybe we could see that showstopper back online before the end of the half.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're going to be feeding orbs to him. And well, you can see he's top of the board right now, 12 and 6. Wu on the other side. And that's the thing, Wu, you saw a moment ago, I think it was like, what, just over 30% in the retakes. One of those retakes was basically just him killing everyone. Like 3 kills on the entry back into that B site in round number 3. But they have definitely struggled. And versus KC, they didn't really need to retake much because they were winning so dominantly a lot of the rounds. Well, the Odin now in play once again. We've seen this one before. It's something Kushmaris did last week, and it's worked out again. Can't spam the wall anymore, so you just don't go behind a wall.
You spam the Viper wall instead.
Yeah.
That's it's an ingenious play, an adjustment that Neon certainly allows you to get in and out of there quite quickly, much to the chagrin of mates in this scenario. Woot holding on that corner. This time they go, well, let's pressure Benji again. It worked pretty well last time, and well, Benji's got a buddy with him. Thorns gonna slow them. And indeed stopped them entirely. Martin stuck in position with the 2nd Thorn Bloom, and all the while the wraparound coming in. 3-man flank underway. The big guns of the Odin, but it's not going to be the point of contact. Boo instead walking up, and although Martin was looking the right way, he still gets planted by that glyph. Not a chance. 5 to 6. Team Heretics. They're closing in that distance. We could well see a 6-6 half.
It almost felt like the plan there was put covering fire. Okay, sure, it gets a kill, but then force them into Wu. Because this guy's on at the moment. 13 and 8, another double where it felt like he was almost fighting alone. If they can get him in position and then set themselves up for the attack side, I think Heretics are still in a pretty decent spot here, especially with mates winning the pistol.
I'm kind of liking seeing Martin on the Duelist instead of the Vito.
That's crazy. What an out there thing to say.
Yeah, it kind of looks good on it, mate. Maybe we can see more of that in the future. I mean, hell, I'm over.
I want him to play Vito every map after that 1 ace.
Yep. The power of the evolution. I love it. Kushmaris, a man after my own heart. He is risking getting flanked. If someone was contacting B, he's dead. But a risk worth taking. Damage done. But no kills that come from it just yet. Root on his way in, seeking out anybody. Sound will be stolen away from him for now at least, but Starzo goes down. Numbers equalized. And mates, still without a plant. They are just stalling out, waiting for an overextension.
And you can't lose the post plant if you don't let them plant. You can't lose the round, but that's another thing altogether. Benji, low on HP. It's high-low. Rians is waiting just behind. He's going to regress the patience of mates. As I said, the mid-round calling from Starzo has been sublime. Like, just putting them in positions to win the round, and at this point, just trading out will be enough. Martin is more than happy to take the 1v1. Leaves Boo, hoping for a spam kill. I think he took about the same amount of damage back in return, and It's not been his day so far today, needing a lot in this 1v3, and he will get, well, the same treatment as everybody else, killed by Martin.
Yeah, even the blast pack there, beautifully done to push that player back. 7-5. A very strong performance from Mates, comparing it to their previous as well. You know what? We've heard enough from these casters. Let's hear from another who's co-streaming here in the building. Over to our buddy Hazza right after the replays.
Nice!
Yeah, caster turned co-streamer apparently. Hello, Hazza. What are you doing here in the co-streaming booth?
We've never seen that career change before, have we? No, I'm just here in the arena, watching the games, having a good time.
Enjoying them so far?
Yeah, it's been all right,
and
you know?
I heard you're here not alone, right?
No.
So, what happened with Cairo? Is the duo still together?
The duo is still together. Cairo's just off enjoying the many sights that Berlin has to offer, I imagine, and you know, he'll be back soon, but for now it's just me holding it down. You
decided to come back into the arena on your day off instead of enjoying the many sights of Berlin.
Yeah, the arena's the place to be, obviously.
Obviously. Well, I mean, how have you found the game so far?
Yeah, look, it's been good. I'm looking forward to Vitality against BBL, though. I think that's a pretty big one in the group. Obviously, one of them could still miss out. GX didn't win yesterday, though. That would have been a big one for it. But yeah, should be exciting. And if you were in Gentlemate's coach position right now, obviously they're leading at the half. What do you think they need to do to be able to close this one out? Martin, go kill. Why not? Martin, go kill. Yeah, Martin, go kill. Seems to be the storyline either way. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Hazza. Enjoy the rest of your coach stream. We're going to toss it right back to Mitch and Tom.
Thank you, Billy. Yes, indeed. 7-5 for Gentlemates at the moment. And look, this is definitely an uptick on what we saw from the previous map. And no man more so than Martin embodying that 16-7.
He got an ace last game. What do you mean?
Yeah, true. Did he end up with this kind of a scoreline after the first half, though? Or even both halves put together?
No.
He's looking very confident and comfortable on that raise. And I don't think anyone could have seen that coming. It's a real surprise down here.
Yeah. Woot has been matching him, though. And that's the thing. Like, Woot being able to do that on the defensive side has got them some rounds. Like, it's definitely been a quieter performance. I think Mates did incredibly well to sort of force Benji out of the site and force them into retakes, which, as I said, if you looked at their performance last week, it was hyper-aggressive, almost attack-like defenses. And we didn't really get to see much of their attack because they were so far in the lead. We will now get to see what they have planned. And I do think with this sort of composition, allowing Heretics to dictate the pace could work out for them.
Well, it certainly seems to be the idea for now. They are just tucked in on the side of Mates, but a trap set and soon to be sprung off Starzo's contact. They go wide from the door and from behind the box. And although Heretics are being cautious of this, they have no idea what is waiting for them. Unfortunately, for Mates, the door's been taken. They bypassed it completely, even picking up Mini as he tries to cross back. And with the smoke down, the site's theirs. The plant can be found, and Mates are now the ones that need to make a move.
I don't know if the Spidey sensors were tingling, but yeah, they managed to completely avoid the trap setup. Quick flank coming in. Considering the plant, they're going to almost have to fight this. The fight ending in a trade for now, but eventually Riens comes out on top, leaving it into a glyph clutch, and with the reswing, he's given him an opportunity. And even spotting his opponent, that allows him to potentially get this to half at least. Will he try and stick it all the way? Well, maybe tried to stick it a little too long. Kosmara's on the slide, and that will be a pistol now for Heretics, a chance to equalize.
Yeah, a chance that, from what we've seen so far, they won't let slip. Again, like, this was a great idea from Mates. I think they set themselves up perfectly. They were extremely patient. And unless I'm missing something, oh my goodness. Unless I'm missing something, Heretics didn't see anything that gave away the play. They just decided not to go in that direction, which, well, that was exactly what they needed to do.
I love how in sync the coaches are with the exact same celebration. They've spent too much time with each other at this point.
Launching thorns.
Well, barely anything invested. A full A site stack. And their opponents have gone C. It is almost definitely going to end up as just as many people as you can dying to the spike, and try not to give Rians a kill, which is going to be fairly difficult because, again, I imagine he's going to give the gun over to Benji and just run at them, and if he dies, he has his ult next round.
Yeah, getting something out of it no matter what. For mates. Oh, yeah, they are just going to tuck outside, but it's not avoiding the deaths. It's not avoiding giving the orbs over when Rians just takes you down through the smoke and the wall. Another one making its way into the hands of Heretics. And, well, if the idea was to make it costly if they exit your way and avoid giving them orbs, it is a failure thus far with Rians finding another onto Starzo.
That was the one Vandal. Like, if he'd actually dropped that, that would have been so irritating just to get rid of the one proper rifle. But instead, Rians is in a fantastic spot. He's got his ultimate online. Gets to... Oh, he's actually given the Vandal to Wu. What a great teammate Rians is.
So you can see here that Heretics are ready to just blitz into the C site. And when this happened, for mates, they met a lot of resistance. There was always Thorns there. There was always some like a flash coming out of Benji. He was able to retreat for free. This time, for mates defense, it's Glyph. And with that one-way smoke already bypassed, he's in a lot of trouble. With no way out, they have immediately shut him down. The difference in solo anchoring as an Omen versus a Vice clearly on display. And now it seems like Heretics have this one locked down. Let's see if mates can fight their way back.
Hey, chill. Who named you, bro? Guys, I've got KC wall. I'm alive. You smoke right side. Guys, I can flash. 5v2.
Wait, CT singular remaining.
Chill.
Last CT, bro, chill. Yes, CT. I just Prowler.
I need the gun.
Yeah, me too.
Bro, I think he's just leaving.
I want the gun.
Fuck,
Bro, Kosh, how did you get 4K, bro?
What the fuck?
Bro, it took 10 seconds. It took 10 seconds. I saw him get a 4K and no one reacted. Not a word. And then like, wait, how'd you get 4 there, bro?
My favorite com there is you have Koshmaris get 4 kills and then Benji goes, chill.
Guys.
No, I think he's allowed to push now. I think in a 1v5, you can let the man go looking for the kill. Instead, Benji, maybe you needed to chill, because you're the one that goes down, but it seems like Bippo will get away with it. No ace this time for Koshmaris, but I'm hoping they hyped him up after the round, because yeah, that was...
That's the quietest I've ever heard.
Cool. I guess when your teammates are like, woo, Rians, like, they have quite a high bar.
Chill, yo. Oh my goodness.
There was someone else in there who was like, yeah, like, I can flash.
Koshmaris, come on.
There we go.
Don't go
For the coaches cheered him on at least.
One of them did. One of them did. Neil just clapped. Yeah, I said the bar's too high for these guys at this point. Heretics are going to take the lead. It is feeling a little bit like Martine and friends once again. But still a long way to go in this half. But such a dominant bonus victory, that has got to hurt.
Here.
Well, that's the thing, right? Slipping back into the patterns of the previous map, where mates had a couple decent rounds here and there, often off the backs of individuals, and then they got shut down. Now the initial plan to have Glyph aggressive towards C and at least hold the info, it doesn't work. They can't play that confidently anymore, and it's the downside of playing against a Neon. You don't have some serious util to slow them down. They get that space, they get that fight off barrier up. But I like what they do here. Glyph falls back, wait for the rotates, and play with the numbers. The problem is they have weaker weapons, and they've been spammed through smoke. I mean, that's a bigger problem, to be honest. Rian's just taking a triple. Probably no one in the comms is saying anything at this point. And it's just an easy game for Team Heretics. Yes, an in-zone flawless. Yes, their opponents were on low weaponry, but it should not have looked nearly that easy.
No, I also like how Benji is actually utilizing his thorns in the tape. Because it's like, versus a low buy, there's a good chance that if you start seeing utility, you're going to want to flood early. You want to get ahead of them planting, which they did eventually try and do.
I don't know how, but
he has the thorns. So all 3 players just have to sit outside. That's why Woot's now on an elevated angle. Players are already into the site, because you can't just run through those thorns. You'll take a ludicrous amount of damage. And so because of it, it just makes it look even easier than it would have been. Who's just thrown a blast pack in the spawn?
Oops. Oops, that happens. That's Woot. He's going to be playing
Woot has thrown a blast pack.
One less blast pack for this round. Unlucky. But yeah, taking a look at Martin. I mean, his most played agents, surprisingly not the Vito.
No, that was specifically last week. So there you go. But
yeah.
He played incredibly well, and he is once again 18 and 11. Next highest player, Glyph, 11 and 9, and then it does drop off quite significantly from there. But this has been one of the biggest talking points with mates this year. Is Martin and friends? Like, he seems to turn up in a lot of maps. You put him on the duel list. We question whether he would still be able to thrive when no longer having the Yoru. The answer for him is most certainly yes, but you're still in that same bracket. You're feeling like he has to almost lift an unliftable load if he's going to be able to win this game. We need someone else, because in the first couple of weeks, we had Mini was by far their best player. Missing a little bit here.
Yeah, and I don't think we can put it on any one player.
No.
But it is definitely a factor to think about. Now 9-7 for Heretics. Rifles in hand for both teams. And again, this is where it starts to slip away from you. The score line, or even a 10-7, it's not the end of the world in most games. But thinking of the previous map, thinking of how we got here, that's where you start to get concerned. You start to get worried. I certainly am for mates. They need a confidence builder, something to bring them back into this. Starzo, he was caught by the siege, but he survives, steps back in with full HP, and it looks like a retake already needed. The problem is Koshmaris, he's getting aggressive. He was playing up deep, and, well, the showstopper at least trades out.
Another already, though. Leaves them a man down on the retake. Stars over the trades are immediate. Koshmaris is trading everything out, and then he stops trading. He's just killing at this point. Leaves it all to just Martin. Don't peek him. You got a flash on the corner. It's not going to blind him, but it is going to buy additional time. Nobody giving him an angle, nobody giving him a fight. And in the end, who else but Koshmaris moving himself further up the board, putting himself more on the lips of many, because these last couple of weeks, he is shining bright.
The funny thing is, they tried to deal with him at the start. The paranoia went through to push him back to this angle.
This whole round is them trying to deal with him.
Yeah, much to the detriment of them, they forced him into an untradeable angle as he just took shot after shot on those headshot angles. And initially, if the showstopper just went through, it would have found him. It would have dealt with the biggest problem, but the piece of utility and the paranoia that they put through, it's a good idea. It's a solid way to take. Unfortunately, it played against them just by sheer look. Where he ended up, 10-7, and as I said, this is where I get worried. Nice stuff by Benji, catching Starzo as well in the B lurk. That's going to be something in the back of their minds now for mates in the future buy rounds. But more importantly, Martin's alone, and Koshmaris is styling on them.
Yeah,
it's starting to slip away, Tom, and actually starting now. We're in full slide.
Yep, one at least.
Oh no!
Take some damage from the boombot. Eventually we'll get the rifle, but even still getting back into this is going to be incredibly difficult. Glyph trying to make some space. He's got to be careful though, because Rians is close. And we've talked a lot about Koshmaris, but it's safe to say that Rians has been coming back into this game for a while. We talked about his maybe slightly lucky spray a couple of rounds ago. The last few rounds have been nothing close to luck. He's catching up fast, and this is something we'll always talk about with this Team Heretics roster. You can pick any three of the players on this team. If they're on, they're a tough team to beat. And there are three that are definitely on right now.
Well, and up till this week as well, I think for Koshmaris, there's sort of a question mark of could he hit that level?
Could he be one of them, yeah.
Exactly. Is he one of those potential big players? And, well, there's no more questions around him. It's been a stellar series, 19-9 on this map with a lights-out start. Really one of the reasons that mates were dug so deep into their graves so early on in this series. And as I said, this was the worrying point. 2 rounds ago was where we got very worried, because with that bye round going the way of Heretics, they stepped closer to closing out this series 2-0. More importantly, to locking KC out of playoffs, and more importantly, I guess, in context of this map, they've put 6 rounds in a row now, and it's starting to feel like map 1 again. It's starting to feel like that first half was mates having a bit of comfort, but now they're under pressure on the defense, and they don't have the answers.
Yeah, I think if you're a KC fan right now, you better start pulling out some sort of ritual or something. I think that's your best bet, because 6 rounds in a row, and, well, other than maybe the whole team walking into where Martin is standing and him hitting 5 headshots, I don't really see them coming out of any of these rounds looking particularly good. The sheer pace which Heretics are playing at, it reminds you of that old school Heretics with Miniboo in the roster. Once they got going, it really did feel like they were impossible to stop.
Nothing shy of a room full of candles and a picture of Aang needed for mates to bounce back into this one. Spam good from Woot right off rip. Wall goes down, and so do 2 players on each side. Good trades by mates. Benji closing in the distance on B, but the Prowler distracted long enough, absorbed some shots, and left him dead in the dirt. Heretics a man down, and for what feels like the first time this half, they have to fight back from a disadvantage. Without Koshmaris, and now it's only Boo to do it. 2 players low, a headshot given right away. No! It's so close, but Glyph gets there in the end.
Oh, that would have been the nail in the coffin, no doubt about it, but instead, a lifeline. And that pause making a difference. Still, came down to thin margins. A couple of wonderful shots and big round from Starzo. I said, that's going to be the major thing from my side, is like, you need somebody else stepping up. Starzo has been one at times to be able to put up those level of numbers. But it is only one where they were in the right place at the right time. Koshmaras with a judge. Well, they're running towards B. It's not too crazy, and they got a showstopper alongside it.
Mates have rotated in. They're ready for this battle. Koshmaras is the one to eat the bullet as a result. Good trade, but again, fighting back into it with Glyph on the spam. From here, Heretics completely pumping the brakes. They've got no map control to work with. They're locked out of B. They know there's still numbers there. They know they're under pressure as well from that C side. So opening the door and going elsewhere is really a possibility, and they're being picked off. Even players caught reloading, not able to be dropped. Mates are right back on the horse, looking a whole lot better with just Rien's left to deal with.
I have the spike.
He's isolated one towards C. He knows it, but wants to deal with these B players. The high-low in play. Will deal with him first, though. The mates climb up to 9. This could be their way back in.
Yeah, a good couple of rounds from them. I think having the quick thinking and quick rotations has been a major factor in their victories here. Being able to delay enough off that double push and being able to pincer in. There was a moment where you think that Benji might be able to just close the round on the flank, but not this time. Our team definitely still feeling it. 11-9. 2 rounds the distance, and no shortage of change for Heretics to play with here. An operator in hand for Koshmaras. He's going to look to try and take some control of A, but with just a little bit of utility seen elsewhere, that's enough for almost a full rotation. Look at this from mates. They already have 4 players on the C side of the map.
The thing is, the rotates through spawn, not telegraphed so much, but once Glyph goes for that TP, alarm bells ringing for Heretics. They know that a rotation's come into play. The question is, by how much? How many players are here? That's not something they'll get an answer to, but Woot has heard the fake steps going through water. They're trying to tell them that they left C lighter, trying to get someone to swing through, but when mates see nothing there, they'll start to second guess this. And with the spike grouping up on A, I assume that they are going to hit there, but thing is, leaving Woot outside C for a moment made me think they'll try to pull the rotates, but instead, the A hit comes through just as Starzo walks away. They're already at the door, and a plant should be undeniable. But Heretics, they take a bit of time. They're cautious on the walk-up, and it lets Starzo get into position.
Steel Garden. They really are playing this one nice and safe, trying to make sure nobody with a weapon at least can be within this site. Still taking their time.
Great stuff.
This is where Bippo's going to try and get in early. They're going to try and go ahead of the plant. And Martin's been able to already take down 1. That's a lot of space guaranteed, but Boo hits the shot. No sliding neon. The trade's going back and forth, but the defense seemingly coming out on top. Almost from Benji Fishy. But final boss Martin will not fall.
It did feel like for a moment, like after Boo gets that opening, that mates weren't flooding in quickly enough. Bippo goes down, already swung deep into sight, and the others are still only making their way out of heaven. But the fights, they come so quickly into their favor.
He slides into the nade after being blinded. That's a little bit cursed. And Benji does incredibly well, but again, it seems to be this man almost every single time. 25 and 14.
But this fight does it. I know.
That could be about Bippo going a little
early.
early.
I do wonder if that was what that was about. But they now get the chance to talk to their team as well, now that Heretics have called a pause. I said, after 6 rounds in a row, it didn't look like there was any way back in, but it does seem like Glyph's definitely woken up. Starzo had a moment or two, and Martin's still going. Martin, you know, probably by far the best player in the server at this point, but it's whether or not that will be enough, and whether or not the coaching staff of Heretics can have the same impact that we've just seen from the other side.
Yeah, look, they were 6-0 down in this half, getting dominated in most of the rounds, and now the comeback is massive. The fact that it wasn't like they made a gamble there, they gambled toward, oh sorry, not like they made the correct gamble there, they gambled towards the C site. They rotated 4 players into position, they left Starzo alone on A, and yet Heretics pressuring that weakness, getting on site, finding a plant, dealing with Bippo, who goes in a little ahead of the pack, and still mates being able to fight their way back. We've seen them not be able to close advantages, let alone claw their way back into things. For Heretics, the pause much needed. His momentum picked up, they're hiding behind the wall, but Woohoo and Koshmaras, oh my goodness. That looked like the perfect play from mates.
Hello.
And in fact, this might be Glyph with 2 in any other round. This would be a huge advantage, but Mini still facing off against what seemed to be insurmountable odds.
It seems like a pause brought them back, and a pause might have just sent them to their doom. Back to regular programming for Woot. And for Mini, well, they know roughly where he is. He can take his time clearing every angle, but they're all in the same spot. Koshmaras adds another triple to the collection. 12-10. 1 needed to get themselves closer to playoffs, to make sure KC don't make playoffs, and to start to at least convince a few that Heretics might just be back.
That's crazy that Woot and Kosh checked that. Like, they clearly expected players to be on that left side, not even looking at the broken door, leaving that for teammates further behind. That blast pack up, that wrap around the wall, that was intentional from Heretics, I think, from the get-go. And if not, it was a wonderful adjustment mid-flight. 12-10, 2 chances to close this out, and for KC fans out there, a tragic day with how this one spelled out. Again, mates come in favored. They've got 2 wins under their belt, something Heretics haven't been able to find until possibly just a few minutes from now. But historically, this isn't a matchup that Heretics lose. And we are 1 round away from history repeating itself.
Yeah, historically, this matchup looked very different. Mates with a team that were never able to close, but the mates of this year has been a different beast. Making it to Santiago, but it seems like Heretics have decided today is the day they remind them how many international events they've made it to. Even still though, Nightfall through, A site found to be clear. Showstopper from Martin popped incredibly early. Allows it to clear a lot of ground and actually catches Koshmaras trying to be a little bit cheeky, it seems. They might not have an advantage with weaponry, but they do now have a man advantage.
Mates always win a map in this series as well. That's the other consistent factor. It's always close. And on this map, it has been. Not ready to let it slip just yet. They're fighting their way back in. Boo and Rien's left to deal with. Low HP on 2, and Rien's picks them up. The C's in, and Glyph is, oh my goodness, that's a risky play. Cliff caught and having to defuse that spike, isolate. The fight does well to start. No idea where Booze made it off to. And it will be the leader to strike the final blow. A historic defeat for Mates. That's 4-0 up against this organization, but more dominant than we've seen before.